a week, and like it took a ton of work, and I was there to like witness and feel the physical change of the material, and I'm exhausted. So that, for me to have work of any kind, it has to either be exhausting and it has to like have instantaneous results, which is why digging holes is one of my favorite pastimes right now. Just being able to go from point A to point B and being there and like physically watching materials change into something else. I think that's a pretty primal human thing, but in the creative department, it's necessary for me to like function. So art was kind of like, well, it's either this or I can't think of many other healthy, like actual paying jobs that would have facilitated my needs. But and then just being, my parents kind of forced all three of us to get a higher education, regardless of the cost or all this stuff. So I didn't really want to go to college. But yeah, without college, I obviously wouldn't have met my wife, Heidi, who I met at Oshkosh. I started up at Stevens Point and met some amazing people and artists up there. It was just during that time, my parents' shop had closed up. My dad went to work at Oshkosh Truck, a welding factory for like military contracts. He was basically helping build military vehicles and stuff. And so it was a really lousy time just for my family. So I felt disconnected from them. So when I dropped out of there and then went to Oshkosh, which is closer to Ripon, and started helping out with cleaning the shop out and going to classes, and just kind of reconnecting with my parents and building things with them. And that's where I actually started to take scrap metal from all their projects. Like they never get rid of anything, which at the time was like, wow, this is years worth of scraps here. And my dad was like, yeah, well, let's go make some money and take it to the scrapyard. We'll make this month's groceries, whatever. I was like, yeah, or we could just like turn this into a bird. Sell it. Like call your rich people. Don't you have a list of rich people? Let's sell it. It's like, oh man, it's not that easy, But it did, that did kind of. There were a couple of people that we did reach out to, and we started kind of getting their shop back to working order in like 2008, 2009. There was a lot of just like it's those like little moments in time and history like we are in right now where there's just like there's so much going on, but when you just kind of sit, there's like within all that chaos there's this little eye of the storm where you can just sort of let's really focus in on what we need to do and what's important, because everything else is spinning out of control around us. So let's just focus in, hone in on what we know, do a damage report, get it all together, and then let's make something out of it. So that's kind of what I was doing it. It seems like it was a very it was tumultuous as hell, but we got through a lot of things just by kind of figuring things out and seeing literally assessing the materials that were at that shop. And I started just selling things at farmers markets, just on weekends in that area. There were a couple, and then I always did a little art fair in Green Lake, which is a big tourist lake. So, needless to say, during that summer, there's an art fair in town where a lot of these folks that own a house on the lake come by, and they're like, oh, I'm buying these local people's scrap metal for high prices to look like a bird. And so that's kind of how my dad and I both saw that too. And my mom also from there, it just kind of evolved. Every year there'd be a little more. And I graduated from Oshkosh with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in 2012, 2013. And then it just kind of kept going. Moved to Blue Mountains right after that because my sister was a teacher here in town. So I helped her move into her house. And then saw the area. Both my wife and I just fell in love with the area. She's originally from Oregon, here in Madison. So we wanted to be close to her parents. And then just found a place that's been crazy ever since we moved here. It's been such a nice change of pace up in Fox Valley in Wisconsin, there's just a lot of metal, but there's not a lot of art enthusiasts. So it was easy to find scraps, but not so easy to find people that would be willing to appreciate. Yeah, I mean, well, it's a lot of it. I think recently, especially, it's just my wife Heidi she does pottery classes at the studio and things like that. But right now with COVID and all that, she's taking on a kind of behind the scenes activity with just getting all the numbers that we've kind of created from inventory to past sales. Now that we're not doing art fairs anymore, which that one art fair in Green Lake, which was 10 years ago, I would just do that one show, and then that evolved into like, well, I'll try 3 more shows and add that to the summer roster. And then, I mean, I think if I last 2 summers ago, I was doing about 12 shows in the summer. And it is so expensive, and so it's a gamble, but I mean, it's just one gamble on top of many gambles.
Okay.
Because just deciding to do art full time is the biggest of the gambles. So to kind of have to put in those risks in order to get any sort of reward. And just by recently, after doing 10 years of art fairs, which I will just say, do your research if you want to take a professional artist route. Art fairs are just one of many, many, many different ways to do it. I did it because it was something I had gotten an early reward. It was just like very rewarding the first go around. So I thought, this is just how it's done. This is one avenue that I can go to. Now I'm realizing that you don't have to start that way. It's different for everyone. It definitely worked in terms of getting the work out there and getting exposure without having to necessarily focus on strictly internet, using social media as a format, and just constantly emailing people and trying to get into galleries and things like that. With all those art fairs, we've noticed just after years of getting like an email list going and getting all these clients just from the art fairs, now our basic income is, I'd say, like 50 to 80% of it's generated from people that we met or that saw the work at an art fair.
Okay, wow.
So but luckily we're still very, very. We're pretty young in the whole business aspect of it, so it's a good foundation to start off at. But now we can really we're generating enough income just off of artwork. Now we can use that to focus on other avenues, like galleries and things like that. It's just right now there's so much change going on that we're lucky to just be able to sit. It's being an artist and just saying like I'm an artist comes with a lot of baggage, and a lot of it is socially constructed. But really, it's like, I think if you want to get real philosophical about it, survival is creativity. Like just how do you get through the day and each day when you wake up in the morning and then you go to bed, and you're just like, all right, I'm good, I'm safe, I'm sound, and maybe a little insane. But we did it. Yeah, that's creativity in a nutshell. You just get through your day and make it work so that you didn't hurt anyone around you, you didn't hurt yourself, and you might have made something like that. Someone will be like, "Hey, how much is that?" I'm like, well, let me just check my spreadsheets.
How you worked with Duluth, or like some of the museum or the Driftless Historium.
Yeah.
How do you make those connections?
Yeah, it all kind of ties in with the folks that work at the Historical Museum. They got in touch with me over, I can't remember, it was someone at Cave of the Mountains. I worked there for a couple of years between the art fair thing with working out. The studio was involved with, at least had a lot of things moving around and not a lot of financial well-being going on. And so I got a part-time job at Cave of the Mountains doing just maintenance tours and stuff like that. And I think there was someone on that board that worked with the
Sweet.
I really wish I could have met him, and I feel like we would have been kindred spirits in a way. But either way, just learning, it's all the communication stuff too that comes down to like, I was kind of skeptical about talking with this group at the historical museum just because it was like, well, I don't know if it's going to be something that actually comes to fruition, and it was not going to be like very instantaneous. It was like a 6-month period of like meeting, and then there was another meeting, more meetings. It's just like, is this even worth my time? But again, it was kind of a chaotic point in our lives, and we were just sort of like in that, in the storm, but kind of trying to reach our way into the eye and get this calm, find some ground and some foundation to step up on. And at that same time that I was meeting with the historical museum folks, we had found this spot on Lincoln Street where we're at now, and it was just a perfect place to kind of finally, we had all these visions that we could only do so much in a half of one car garage in a basement, which is where we were working in Blue Mountains. It was just a very small, literally, like physically and figuratively speaking, a toxic environment because there was just so much stuff and such little space to do it, and all the smoke and all the dust, like just in one little space, you're just basically kind of just not working well. Just really, we were still doing things and getting by, but Heidi had 2 jobs, I had 1 job, and it's still just, we just wanted to get to that point where we could just fully just do the art thing. So getting this bigger space, which was just a huge, like 2,000 square feet in comparison to just half a 1-car garage, it was just like, oh, thank God, like now we can finally hoard all that stuff we haven't been able to hoard yet. We're hoping to get 3 hours today of like just us finally there together to just go through and do a deep clean because we haven't done it in 6 months. I'm like, oh my goodness, this place is a nest. It's a nest right now. It's nasty. When we don't allow the public in, we need the public. They're like, they keep us on our toes. Keep us from hoarding dust. So going off of that, just getting that space, which I think was about 5 years ago now, 4 years ago, on top of just finally getting a good project and a good idea down with the historical museum, the owner of the building saw that and saw what I was able to produce for them, and wanted to, I think that big building in town was already kind of in the works at that point. So I think he already kind of used the museum as a little tax for how I do my own business, which just talk about little learning experiences that had a huge impact. It's just so much of what I do now as an artist is really, a lot of it's just kind of learning the person I'm doing work for, learning the client, not to say like learning them like an experiment, but just knowing who I'm talking to and trying to like cater to what their vision is. It's not so much me creating a vision now. That's a lot of work to just kind of constantly be building these pieces out of your mind. I love building other people's ideas. I'm doing it in my own style. And so that's what I learned the most out of those 2 projects. The Angry Beaver was so easy because it was just literally taking a bumper sticker image and just giving it a 3D body. So that wasn't, in terms of just putting us in a new level of ability to be free from the sometimes strangling effects of financial slavery. We were out of that for a little bit, which is great. And we were finally able to really put ourselves in this community in a way that we've always wanted to. So we're not going anywhere. I did grow, when I was growing up, I thought that artists, like visual artists, after looking into it, like how I looked into things as a teenager, like, wow, these guys are really sad. They just look like a bunch of like drunks and crazy. themselves probably. So it's, you gotta, don't let the Netflix haze of how an artist is get to you. It's not, artists are quiet. A lot of artists are just quietly going about life, making life a little bit more beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Just reminding people, like, hey, all this shit that you have to do every day, it's pretty arbitrary, Just don't forget to turn your spaghetti into a mural or something. just to remind people that things are beautiful, even if it's insanely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's no end to the craziness. That's what we do best. But
And it's really cool to see, or just to talk to you, because you like have this innate, like you have to be creative. Like
Mhm.
that's the thing that fits you, and it's not an easy path always. It's not, you're not always struggling, but like it's not easy, but you need it, and it's very inspiring. And
no, I appreciate it. Yeah, well, it took a lot of years of just failing over and over and over again, and then just in the last year of finally just completely rerouting my brain, and it took a lot of just recalculating and rewiring to just be like, all right, this is what's most important, and this is the thing that makes everything else in my life. It sips out the stuff that isn't important.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta keep it going, otherwise it's like, I'm pretty useless. Otherwise.
I love all of your advice, like, is so smart and good.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I've had a lot of time to just kind of think, like, what the hell am I doing? That's every day. What the hell is everyone doing? Is this really happening? Yeah. If you're attracted to whatever gender, find someone that loves spreadsheets. They will make your life easier.
Oh, for sure.